Hello and welcome to Solving Proportions with Mr. Feliciano. After this lesson, students will be able to use proportions to solve ratio problems. Also, after this video, students will be able to recognize and represent proportional relationships between quantities, decide whether two quantities are in a proportional relationship by testing for equivalent ratios in a table or graphing on a coordinate plane and observing whether the graph is a straight line through the origin. We will review some of the ways we can solve proportion: mental math, multiplication, and cross multiplication or cross product. Writing and solving a proportion. We are given a word problem here, so let's go ahead and analyze this. A chef increases the amount of ingredients in a recipe to make a proportional recipe. The new recipe has 6 cups of black beans. Which proportion can be used to find the number of X of cups of water in the new recipe? Okay, so let's look at the original recipe for the black bean soup. So which is right here. So the original recipe for the black bean soup has 1.5 cups of black beans right here, and 0.5 cup of salsa. I'm going to say that's half a cup. And then we have 2 cups of water, and then 1 tomato, and then 2 teaspoons of seasoning. And then in the problem, the new recipe has 6 cups of black beans, okay? And it's asking us which proportion can be used to find the number X of cups of water. So we now don't know how much cup of water is going to get used. So let's write this down. So we have multiple choice, so we can actually, so before we go on the answers, why don't we just write our own proportion for now. So it's saying here that we are using 6 cup of black beans and from the new recipe. So new recipe, and then we have original recipe. Okay, so we're gonna write a proportion between the two. So the new recipe, we are using 6 cups of black beans. So 6 cups of black beans, and then from the old recipe, it's going to be 1.5. Okay, so equals 1.5 cups of black beans. So we just have to make sure that when we're writing proportion, we are going to put the same value on the numerator or denominator. So in this case, we are going to use the beans as our numerator, and then the denominator is going to be the cups of water. So in the new recipe, we don't know how many cups of water we're going to use. So we're going to write that as 6 over X, which is cups of water, H2O, okay? And then from the original recipe, they were using 2 cups of water, 2 cups of water. And this is going to be our proportion. So 6 over X is equal to, so 6 cups of beans to, and we don't know how much water we're going to be using to, and the original recipe is 1.5 cups of beans, and they were using 2 cups of water. So let's see if we can find our proportion from one of the choices. Okay, so 6, I'm gonna rewrite this again so we can simplify it. 6 over X is equal to 1.5 over 2. Okay. All right, so letter A, we have 2 over 1.5, and then 6 over X. So this kind of looks like what we have, but if you, let me change the color of my pen here. But if you look at, so we have 6 right here, right? So that's good. We have 6 cups of black beans from the new recipe. And then we are right on, that's the water, I'm assuming. But then if you look on the left side, right here, okay? On the left side, it says here that they're using 2 of something. So it's either 2 cups of water or 2 teaspoons of seasoning. But it's also at the bottom, it says 1.5 cup of black beans. So remember that when we're writing proportion, we have to make sure that we are comparing the same material or same thing on our fraction or in our proportion. So 2, this could have been 2 cups of water, right? And then they are comparing it with 6 cups of black beans from the new recipe, which is we can't do that in proportion. Okay, let's look at. So we already know that A is not the answer. So letter B. So we see 1.5 again, and from the original recipe, this is the beans. Looks like this is the original, and then this is the new recipe, right? So, and then X is the unknown. This should be the water. But then it says here we have 2 water again. So I think this is the original, so this should be water again. So again, we know that this is going to be incorrect because now they're comparing the black beans and the water together. So this is going to be incorrect also, okay? All right, letter C, we have 1.5 over 2. Okay, so it looks like the same one that we have again. So this is going to be the original recipe, and this is going to be the new recipe. So 1.5 over 2, just like how we have right here. Okay, that looks promising. Oh, well, but then they reversed the water. This is the water that we are looking for the new recipe, and then the 6 is going to be the number of cups of black beans. So again, because they reversed this is not going to work. So that means by using the process of elimination, we know that our answer is going to be letter D. So because from the original recipe and then the new recipe, we have 1.5 of a cup and a half of black beans, and it's going to be using 2 cups of water. And the new recipe is going to be using 6 cups of black beans, and then we also are now looking for the number of cups of water that we need to use. So this is going to be the right answer. And for our answer, it's just we wrote it the other way. So 6 over x, and then 1.5 over 2. Okay. Okay, so now let's solve our proportion using the cross multiplication or cross product strategy. I'm using this strategy right away because this is going to be the most commonly used way to solve a proportion, cross multiplication. And this is also a review from our earlier units or chapters in ratio and proportion. So what I've done here is I have rewritten the proportion that we got. So this is the original recipe again, and then this is the new recipe. So this is the beans, and then this is the water. So we just understand the relationship between the original recipe and the new recipe. The original recipe was using a cup and a half of black beans, and then the new recipe is using 6 cups of black beans. And then the bottom denominator, we are using that. The original recipe is using 2 cups of water, and in order for this to be proportion, we need to know how much water we need to use if we were to increase the number of cups of beans. So how much water we need to use if we use 6 cups of beans. Right, so using cross multiplication, we do know, just like on the right side, in the proportion A over B is equal to C over D. The products A times D and B times C are called cross products. So in this case, we are going to do it this way. So we're going to multiply 1.5 times x and 2 times 6. And we're going to rewrite that as 1.5 times going to be equal to 2 times 6. Okay, so and we're going to get our product, solve this. So 1.5x is equal to 2 times 6 is going to be 12. Okay, and what we're going to do here, so we can solve for x, is we're going to multiply or to divide both sides by 1.5. Okay, so we're going to divide this by 1.5 and do it on both sides because it's an equation. 1.5 and then so 1.5 and 1.5, if you divide them you get 1, so this basically cancels out, or it's going to be x and then 12 divided by 1.5, we should get 8. Okay, so our solution to this proportion is x is equal to 8. So one way for us to check our answer is by so now that we have the value of x, which is 8, we can substitute 8 to the value of x, and we can do it this way. So I'm just going to write 1.5 times 8. We're gonna have to check to see if we multiply 2 times 6 is going to be 12, right? We have to check if are we going to get 12 if we multiply 8 and 1.5. So let's do it right here. So I'm going to do a long multiplication here. So I'll do it on the side. So 1.5 times 8. Okay, so 8 times 5 is going to be, so 8 times 5, we should have 40, right? 8 carry 4, so 8 times 1 is 8. Then we just add 4, so 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12, and we have, so 120, and we have a decimal point right here, 1. So we should put a decimal point right here, and our answer is 12.0 or 12, and I think our answer checks out. Okay, and again, this is the clean version of our proportion. So what I'm going to do is I'll label them, so just like how we have it right here. So in the proportion A, so 1.5 is A, and then the bottom is B, C, and then D, just like how we have right here. And then once we cross multiply, it should look like this. So this is going to be A times D. Okay, so just like how we have it right here. So A times D, and then B times C. And then what we did was we we multiplied them, so we get 1.5x and then 12. Then what we did after that is we divided both sides by 1.5, and to get the answer, x is equal to 8. Okay, now we're going to use the next strategy for solving proportions, and that is by mental math. Okay, so we are going to solve 3 over 2 is equal to x over 8. So one way to do this using mental math is to, because we have 2 and 8 are given, right? And then 3 and x are given. So really what we're going to do is find what the value of x is. So one question we should, that's going to help us answer this is, what is a number that we can multiply by 2 to get 8? What do you think? So I would write this as 2 times what number, so we can get 8. And then also 3 times what number is going to give us the answer for x. Okay, so let's do that. So 3 over 2 is equal to x over 8. And one way to do this, we can divide 8 by 2 to get 4, right? So So if we were to write this, well, I think 4 is going to be our answer. So 3 over 2, and then if you multiply this by 4, both sides, or the numerator and denominator, you should get 2 times 4 is 8, right? Just like how we got right here. And then 3 times 4 is going to be 12. It's probably easier just because of the kind of example we got. But so our solution here is x is equal to 12, right? This probably looks simpler, but if it's the simplest way to solve it. But if we have a different number, it would be different. Okay, but I would recommend trying all the strategies we're gonna go over, worked on. So, and then alright. So here again is the clean version of the problem we solved. We just had it redone with the instructions on how to do it. So first of all, we wrote the problem here and right here, and then we thought of a number that we can multiply by 2 to get the answer 8. And then since we know, because we know that the product of 2 and 4 is 8, we multiplied the numerator by 4 also to solve for x. And then on the right here, we learned that the solution for x is 12 when we multiplied the numerator and denominator by 4 right here. Okay, 5, oops. You're going to solve this final proportion using multiplication property of equality. So, and this is, just to review, this is the way you would do. It's kind of like cross multiplication, but what we're going to do here is, since we are solving for x right here, so 5 over 7 is equal to x over 21. Because we're solving for x, what we can do is multiply both sides by 21, and this is how we can do it. Okay, so 5 over 7 times 21 is equal to x over 21 times 21. Okay, so what happens here is, so these two numbers right here will cancel each other out. And so if we do 5 over 7, we multiply that by 21, so we should get 105. Let's double check. So 21 times 5, 5 times 1, we should get 5, and then 5 times 2 is 10, 105. So it's going to be 105 over 7, so it's going to be x is equal to 105 over 7, okay? And then if we divide 105 by 7, we should, how many 7s do we get? How many 7s do we get in 105? I'm going to say 8. No, 105 times 7. I'm going to have to do a long division here. So let's try a long division. So we should have 105 divided by 7. So it would be 10 and 7. So we get 1, and then 1 times 7, right? 7, and then 3 and 5. 35 divided by 7, you should get 5, right? And then 5 times 7 is 35, gives us a 0, and our answer should be 5 right here, or 15. So x is going to be 15. It's always good to know how to do long division, so we always have a backup in case we don't have a calculator, and for things like this, it comes in very handy. So we can check our answer. So if we use x is equal to 15, and if we substitute 15 to that x right there, so let's rewrite this again. Let me make my pen smaller. So we get 5 over 7 is equal to 15 over 21, and if we do if we do cross multiplication, so 5 times 21 is equal to 7 times 15. I'm going to do this again, so 21 times 5 is 1. Switch me, so 520 should be 105, and if we multiply 7 and 15, we should get 105 also. Actually 715, so we should have our answer right here. So because if we do 15, but let's do it anyway. 15 times 7 is equal to 7 times 5 is 35. Carry 3, 7, 8, 9, 10. Should be 105. Okay, so our answer checks out again. Okay, and for the last slide in this video, I again am just showing you the clean version of the last strategy that we used to solve proportion, which is using the multiplication property of equality, which is very similar to cross multiplication. And I'll show you what it looks like right here. So these two are probably the most common strategy you're going to use when solving proportion, and you're going to see this in a lot of this in our next unit. Okay, go ahead and practice some more and use any of these strategies that's going to work best for you, or that's going to be a lot more comfortable for you, and enjoy.